Hi all and welcome to yet another gold making video. This time I'm going to be talking about what a good class and spec is for farming gold and gathering. Now this isn't going to be some long boring list of classes and specs and this and that, but rather to get you thinking about what qualities you want so you can think of which of your characters would be best suited for it. Thank you to David Riley on Facebook for suggesting this video idea. Now, a lot of this depends on the spots as well. So the first thing is survivability, for two reasons. If you die, that isn't really going to help much, and if you have to stop every 10 seconds to eat and heal up, then that's really bad. You want your character to be able to blast through as many mobs before having to stop. You also want to be able to gather up a whole bunch to AoE down, so to do that you need survivability. So a class that naturally takes less physical damage, for example, plate wearers, or a class that has a pet that can tank, so hunters and warlocks are an example of this. DPS. You want to be able to kill what you're farming really quickly. There's no use being able to survive anything they throw at you and gather 1,000 mobs together if you can't actually kill them. So you want something with high damage. Depending on the mobs you're farming, you want to think about two different types of damage, AoE and single target. If you're farming 1 or 2 mobs at a time, which is probably unlikely, but in the case you are, you would want high single target DPS. However, most of the time you want to round up a whole bunch and then AoE them down, which means you get yourself some super AoE power. Tying into DPS, you want something bursty and not damage over time for farming. You want to gather everything together and then nuke them down in no time at all. Dots may seem great to use as you run through dotting and killing everything, and that may do tons of DPS, but then their bodies will be all over and you'll have to spend more time looting than you would if you just gathered them all up and nuked. You also probably want something with some ranged abilities, which basically all classes have. You want abilities that you can use to just pick up aggro and get them chasing you so you can gather more together easier. A Frost Death Knight with Howling Blast is a good example, provided it doesn't instantly kill the mobs, which it might. Downtime. I spoke a little bit about it earlier, where you want survivability so you don't have to stop and heal constantly, but this goes for more than just that. A class that runs out of mana, or has to heal up, or needs to stop for any reason isn't as good as one that can just go non-stop for obvious reasons. Professions. If you're going to farm cloth, you want your tailor. No two ways about it, that is that, you want your tailor to farm cloth. To farm cloth, get yourself a tailor, and that is that. Regardless if they suck at farming, you want that profession for the extra cloth. End of story! If you want enchanting mats, then you want your enchanter. Sort of. You can actually group up with a friend who has enchanting, and then they can be really far away from you or even offline, and things will come up for loot rolls where you can click disenchant and have it disenchanted instantly and at no cost to you. You don't even have to have the profession as long as they do. Just make sure they aren't nearby or the whole loot thing will get messed up for you, but if they log on, join into the group with you, and log off, you are golden. If you're killing skinnable mobs, then you want skinning. If they can be harvested with engineering, then you want engineering, and so on. The level of gear you want to farm the area should be based on all of the above factors. You want to be geared enough for the mobs you're farming to not be a threat, and for you to kill them easily and have very little to no downtime. So the higher the level of area, the more gear you will need. As long as they aren't a threat and you kill them quickly, gear isn't actually a problem. Tank specs generally deal very low damage when farming because you simply cannot get enough vengeance from their pathetic damage, which is good because otherwise you would need a healer, which halves the loot, or you would die, which would kind of suck. You only really want to use tank specs for extremely dangerous mobs that drop really worthwhile loot, preferably with lots of self-healing potential so you can stay alive and not have to stop. Blood Death Knights are basically killing machines in this area because they keep alive by smashing things in the face with Death Strike. If possible, a non-casting class, or one that can just cast while moving, is nice for farming. Instants mean you don't have to stop to cast, so you can just nuke. Also, casters get longer cast times when they are hit, which slows down the killing. If what you're facing has lots of silences or interrupts, then you probably don't want a caster. Hunters aren't affected by this. Flight or mount speed. Unless you're in an unmountable instance, you want to be able to move around as fast as possible, so the faster you can do that, the better. Think about the mobs you're going to be facing as well. Don't pull a whole bunch if you know they can lock you out with fear and CC until you die. Do they hit hard, or can you bring more DPS and less survivability? That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed and that it helps you out. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe for future videos. Now go make some gold!